It's time to communicate. It's time to communicate. Yes, I am your platform partner, Jackson, all about making things happen, addicted to action. Yes, and I am your platform partner again, like I just said, and I'm about to share with you part two of how to sell for non-sales people. Now, if you didn't picked up on what I just said, this is part two. You want to watch part one as well, because in part one, I give some amazing information that's also on this channel in this series, How to Sell Without Being a Salesperson. We do have the course online as well that you can order and get the detailed course. In fact, you need to get that. But I just want to share some information here because is no doubt that if I like helping people, and we living in a day and age where the quality of your communication will determine your outcome and your quality of life. So you cannot avoid it. You must know how to communicate, and more specifically, you got to know how to connect with people and sell and close deals. Now, I made this series because I've never been the type of person that wants to just sell any product and just try to manipulate and convince people to buy something I didn't believe in. And I know a lot of people don't want to be considered the pushy salesperson. A lot of y'all don't want to repel people. You don't want your friends to think that you're a snake or a scam artist, right? And I don't want that, and I never wanted that. And so that's why, I create this type of content, and I've made the ups and downs, the mistakes, and been around the planet to be able to share this type of experience with you. So before I get into the details, let me tell you a really quick story. I had a close guy that became a friend of mine. I worked at a school. It was a design and technology campus in downtown Chicago. The number one salesperson that was there. This guy was one of the best salespeople you'll ever meet. I mean, he was unorthodox. He was the guy that could sell, and he was so cold. I would let my grandmama walk him across the street. Okay, this guy was bad, and this guy, he ended up getting fired from the job, and for something that totally had nothing to do with sales. He got fired from the job, and he ended up being homeless for a year. And he called me, and he was telling me what he was going through. And what I realized is that even the best salesperson on the planet can go broke, right? It's not about you having all the sales skills or you being the best quote unquote salesperson. One thing he told me, he says, Jackson, I can't sell something I don't believe in. So he had to pick up his spirits, because ultimately the number one thing that you're selling is you. So you got to know how to do stuff that you believe in, and only recommend stuff that you have personally tried, that you got experience. You got to basically keep it real. You got to be 100% about what you do and how you do it. And you are the sale. I want you to remember that. Repeat after me. I am the sale. People buy me. All right, keep that in mind. Don't you ever forget that. No matter what you selling, there's always somebody else they could have got it from, but they chose to get it from you because it was something about you. All right. Also, I want you to remember that most people don't need your product or service. Most people will be perfectly fine if they never had your product or service. So don't get caught up in your ego thinking that you gotta have, that your product is so amazing. Don't get caught up in also thinking that you gotta have the best product, because people are not buying for the best product. People typically want an experience, a good experience with somebody that they know, like, and trust. And that's what I talked about in the first video. Now, on part two, I want to get a little more technical. Okay, let's get much more technical. And that is this. One mistake that you want to avoid is a mistake I used to make all the time. And that is when you first walk into a situation, let's say you walk into a networking event, or you walk into a building and there's people that are there, and these are like prospects, and you like a wolf, and these are like sheeps or chickens, and now your mouth is just salivating because you see all of this money and this opportunity. The key is not to be thirsty. Don't be thirsty. Okay, check out that song. It's called Thirsty. But the key is to take your time. All right, take your time. You never want to just immediately start shooting shots. All right, you don't want to just come in and your first move is to start selling to people, because immediately people are going to be turned out. Plus, it's hard to hit a target if you don't know what the target really is. So be patient. You ever heard the story about the daddy bull and the baby bull? Well, they were both standing on top of a mountain, and the baby bull said, Daddy, look at all those cows on the bottom. You know, we can go, let's go have sex with one of those cows. And then the daddy boy, well, he said, Daddy, let's go run down the hill to have sex with the cow, with one of those cows. And Daddy boy said, no, son, how about we walk down the hill and we make love to them all? Now, the moral of that story is sometimes you just be patient and you can get way more than what you ever even imagined for if you just practice patience and not try to just sell people. The key is to really want to help people. The way that you help people is you have to first help yourself. You have to first be sold out on what you're selling because really people are buying you. Remember, the key is to not convince people. The key is for people to see that you're convinced in what you say, that they want to just support you because you're convinced in what you say. It's not about you convincing them. Remember, the amateur people try to sort, but as a professional, your job, the amateurs try to convince people. Amateurs convince people, but as a professional, your job is to sort through people. You don't want everybody on your team. You're not trying to sell to everybody. And so the main point of my video is to take your time. Don't come out immediately trying to sell. It's about exchanging value. Become a part of that culture. Become a part of that community. Connect with people. Be empathetic. See what the problem is. I've had situations where there were people I wanted to sell something to, and they looked like they were ready to buy, but come to find out they just had a family member that just recently passed. And you don't notice until you start talking to people. And so if you just come at them immediately trying to sell, you don't know, but you can immediately be turning them off. This is what I want you to keep in mind. The person, your number one customer is not always the person that's in front of you. The number one customer is the person who was referred to you by the person in front of you. Okay? Keep that in mind. The best referral, the best business is our referrals. Word of mouth from someone, because now you're already credible, you're already solidified. And so the key is to help people that are in front of you. And when you help them enough, they're going to refer their friend, and their friend will typically come to you and immediately buy because you did such a great job that you came highly recommended, right? So the more that you connect, the more that you collect. And so I just want to encourage you, when you go into these situations, become a part of the community and the culture. Okay? So with that being said, this is just a quick mindset for you to think about. Don't try to immediately go sell. Set up the appointments. Get to know people. Help them. Because even if you may not get the sale that day, but you can get the sale later on down the line. So you don't have to be so aggressive. And the same thing kind of works with people. Think about it. If me as a man, if I'm approaching women at an event, let's say I'm out and I see some women at a party and I like them, me personally, I'm not going to just immediately say, hey, I want to be with you. Let's get married. I'm not going to come at them like that. You come and just be cool at first. Just check them out. Hey, who are you here with? Oh, okay, really? Okay. How you feeling tonight? Okay, all right. So yeah, so what are you about? Just general stuff. And then if the customer likes you, you'll know it. You got to read their body language. And you'll see that, not just in dating and relationships, but specifically even with sales. So use this, don't abuse this, don't confuse it, and get the Shut Up and Hustle book series. Subscribe to the page, watch all of this. Make sure you also get those programs as well. Leave me a comment, share this video, baby. Yeah.